few years ago, I wrote this article that I put on Medium about the importance of adult play. And
Mm.
I have to honestly tell you, I don't think it's the best piece of writing I've ever done, but that article has now gotten somewhere between 15 and 20,000 reads,
Mm.
which tells me it's an important topic. And I recently did an interview with psychologist Mike Rucker, who came out this year with a book called The Fun Habit. And Mike sheds light on the emergent scientific evidence supporting the idea that creativity and fun is a fundamental component of our evolutionary heritage. How do you suggest that we embrace this creativity and fun in adulthood?
Oh, I'm so glad that you're asking the questions you're asking because I think it's paradoxical. I think we have to plan spontaneity. In fact, I had a friend at university. I've been in England for too long that I say university, not college, but she used to imitate me saying, "Can we plan something spontaneous?" In defense of my 18-year-old self, I think I was onto something that you have to protect playtime. So you have to be serious about silliness or it doesn't happen. It's the thing that goes because it's considered non-essential. So recognizing that it matters, firstly, is step one. How we go about it can be so wonderfully varied person to person, but it's something I wrote about it in my book. There's a lot of playfulness that can happen in therapy. It's something that can come up in surprising ways. It can be a playful conversation with a stranger, a playful approach to cooking a meal that you're used to cooking a certain way and changing your approach to it. It can be a conversation with a friend where you take that risk and say something slightly unusual that might be completely wackadoodle and it goes somewhere hilarious. I think there's always risk required for playfulness. Just a little bit of risk, like the rules, and sometimes rules make a game possible, but also you're going to test something out in a slightly new way to see what it's like and to have the experience of spontaneity. And I will read your article after this conversation, so I don't know what your approach is to play, but I think that playfulness does really well with a combination of boundaries, but also uncertainty within those boundaries.
What's interesting, I just interviewed billionaire David Rubenstein, and I asked him, after being around all these successful people that he has and writing about so many of them, what was some of his biggest observations? And he said that oftentimes too many people gear their lives towards pleasure instead of the service of others. That
Mhm.
said, he said, you cannot think that you're going to accomplish what you want in life without having pleasure. So he said it's the right balance between the two
Mm.
that is so important. And I think that's an important lesson because life is really about balance, and you're going to find yourself completely burnt out if you don't allow yourself to have pleasure and time for play and time to relax and be out in nature and be with your family and do things that liven your soul. So I think
Yes,
it's an extremely important point.
yes, and also to enjoy what it is you're doing, and sometimes being mischievous is part of that as well. I just loved learning, and I think I put it in my book that Mozart would make scatological jokes a lot. He loved fart jokes, and you can always be silly. You can always be playful. In fact, it can just be a kind of expression of who you are, but it also it loosens things and makes it possible to get through your day. So no matter how serious your work is, no matter how big a responsibility you carry, I think having some childlike mischief is also a way of kind of not being crushed by responsibility.